Hey guys, this is Brian here from TopDeck. Today we have the Kashtira Tearlaments combo tutorial test hand, boop boop boop. But yeah, it's just a good deck, but you gotta play it well. How do you do that? Let's find out. To begin with the one card combo, I'm sure some of you know this combo already. It begins with a Fenrir, so I'm going to speed through it so you guys don't get bored. With one Fenrir, you can special summon Fenrir. Fenrir effect to search Rise Heart. Rise Heart, you don't want to special summon it because it locks you into XYZ. So you normal summon Rise Heart, effect to banish one Kashtira from the deck, and then make it a level 7, banish the top 3 of your opponent's deck. You overlay these two into a Draco Sack. Now Draco Sack has an effect where you can detach, summon 2 tokens. Summon 2 tokens that are level 3, you can link these two into a Cherubini. Now the Cherubini has an effect where you can send, for cost, a King of the Swamp, a level 3, any level 3, by its cost, or you can't trigger a halfness. Okay? And now you just link these two off for a Sprint. And Sprint will send Merly to the graveyard. Wait. Now Merly can fusion with King of the Swamp, these two, to make either Rukalos or Grappa. This really depends on your hand and your current field situation. So we'll discuss it more in the test hand section. So this is your end board of one Fenrir. You're always ending on something. Okay? You're always ending on something. Not like normal summon Diviner, pass turn. If you mill nothing, or you get imperm, pass turn. You have a Fenrir if you get impermed. Now onto the 2 cards. This is the most standard I could make this deck because Tear does not have a set combo. Okay? It's very similar. You begin with a Fenrir or Rise Heart or Fenrir Tearlament. Your special Fenrir, right? This is in your hand. Fenrir effect to search. Normal summon again. Banish something. Make it level 7. Overlay into Draco Sack. Again, Draco Sack makes the 2 tokens. 2 tokens into Cherubini. Cherubini effect to dump King of the Swamp. Now, this is where it differs. Because you detach a Kashtira card, you are able to summon Tearlaments Kashtira. Banishing this, you get 3 mills. What would you mill? Killback, but you win. But we're going to assume these are dead mills. Whatever, right? No mills. So now, we just have this board state. Then we link these two off again for the Sprint. Sprint, send the Merly. Merly fusions with the Swamp. Make either Rukalos or Grappa. Right here. So let's say we just make the Rukalos. 2 interruptions. Where's the interruption? Sprint second effect. If you have XYZ and a monster special summon, you can detach this, bounce 1, and you have a negate special summon, or you have a negate monster or normal spell trap. That's a 2 card combo. See you guys in the test hand. Now it's time for the test hand. Excuse the shadow over here because there's glare. I don't want to have too much glare so you guys can't see the cards. Hopefully you guys can still see the cards all right. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to give it a good shuffle. I'm shuffling on camera as I'm talking because I want you guys to know that this is legit. And I'm not just making up these hands. Let's begin. Going first, we begin with 5 cards. What are the 5 cards? Tearlaments. Okay? If we go second, we have an Ash and we have a Thrust. As long as you draw any one of the Thrust or Talents or Imperm, a Rise Heart is dealt with. You don't need to worry about a Rise Heart. Yes, I know Kashtira kind of kills the deck, but no longer. You draw any one of them, they're dealt with. So with this hand, you have to consider, how do you maximize your value? Okay? I want to be able to mill as much as possible when I only draw Tear. So what I'll do is that I won't activate Pro Rhino first, because I could hit the Tearlaments Kashtira that I was going to search for. Okay? If I search a Rhino Heart, then I don't get another normal summon aside from Merly. So you really gotta consider this. Sequence it right. You want to ensure the maximum possibility of hitting stuff, because a lot of this is banned. Okay? So what we'll do is activate Scream, normal summon Merly, chain link 1, chain link 2, mill 3, mill 3. So you mill the top 6 of your deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, perfect. So you milled Sulliek, Fenrir, Rhino Heart, Scream, Kashtira Tearlament. As I said, we could want this. So this is your hand over here. You have this to activate, this to activate, and this to activate. Now, you kinda don't want to hit another one of the Sulliek because you already used it. So you will search the Sulliek of the Scream. Sulliek can search any tier, probably a Kashtira Tearlament, to see what you mill. And so we will chain link it like this. We will go chain link 3, 2, 1. Because we want to minimize the chance of hitting Sulliek, and we want to minimize the chance of hitting another Kashtira Tearlament. So what we'll search for is Kashtira Tearlament off the chain link 3, Sulliek off the chain link 2, and we will mill 2. So now these are in your hand, and we'll give the deck a good shuffle. And we'll mill 2. This is our graveyard, milling 2 more. Mill 2 field spells. No worries. We hit nothing, that's completely fine. Why? Because we have Kashtira Tearlament now. So now what we can do is, again, we don't want to activate per Rhino here because we need tiers in the deck. So we're going to activate Kashtira Tearlament, special summoning it, banishing a Kashtira card or a Tearlament card from the grave. I like to banish Fenrir just in case they banish Ossa. Or they play Ossa and then they get the Fenrir and we're a bit messed up. So we go use the Kashtira Tearlament effect to mill 3. Again, nothing. It is A-okay. Why? Because we're Sulliek already. Right? We have Sulliek for the interruption, we have the Scream to mill more, and we have this. What we could do is search Sharon with this, try to extend. If we know they're playing a strong going second deck, then we'll try our best to set up a board. But guess what? You don't always need to end on stuff. You don't always need to end on stuff. As long as you have ways to mill and ways to live, you're winning the next turn. And guess what? If they interrupt the combo, bam, you set a meta noise. 100% chance of fusioning, right? Unless they ash you. But if they ash you, they're not ashing, like, you're activating this. You activate the Rhino. How I would play it is I'll activate the Rhino and I'll just search a Tearlament and I'll just stop there. And then just set 1, maybe set 2 if you haven't used it past turn. Why? You have a mill 3, you have a mill 3, you have this to either mill 2 more or trigger a fusion. Now if you mill any Aqua, King of the Swamp, you send a Merly, you win, right? This is not really needed. We have an Ash in hand, so this is 2 interruptions plus 6 mills. And then it could turn into more based on what we mill. Let's see if we actually end it like this, okay? This is not activated, but I'm keeping a face up for your entertainment, okay? So let's say the opponent normal summons Beaver, okay? Or Sprite is the strongest deck right now, right? So they normal summon Beaver, effect. They have 2 Beavers in the field. And then I will do this here. Right? I won't negate the Beaver because we have to conserve our interruptions, but we do want to extend our board, right? We'll go Kashtira Tearlament effect, banishing, for example, Scream, chain link 1, chain link 2. Or we could use this during the Beaver summon, but it's okay. We'll mill 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we hit a name, we already can shuffle and pop, so they have to draw starter, and then we have an Ash. and they're lost, right? If they summon Kashtira, then the Kashtira is gone. And we hit a shuffler, so we still have a pop at any time. So we'll use effect, right? We'll go fusion with these three. Let's say the board is double beaver. You summon the Kaleido. These are not activated. Kaleido, target one beaver. Field spell, target the other beaver. They're dead. No more. They activate starter. Goodbye. Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. They have somehow, by miracle, another extender. Sulliek. Send Kaleido. Kaleido send any tier. Do you not win like this? That's test hand number 1. Test hand number 2. Hopefully we can draw a Kashtira card this time. As you guys saw from the combo, any Kashtira card equals a fusion, but I do want to tell you guys how to order it in the case that we do draw both parts of the engine. We'll begin again with 5 cards. Imperm, King of the Swamp, Kashtira. Okay, so now as you guys can see, we have a terraforming. Guess what the terraforming gets us? The pressure planet. What does the pressure planet get us? Guess what? Fenrir. And as you guys have already seen in the combo video, Fenrir is 1 card. Effect. Normal summon, special summon effect. Get Rice Heart. If they interrupt anytime, look at their hand. They're dead. Draw 2. They're dead. These cards are broken. Okay? Normal summon. Banish Unicorn. It's a level 7. Dracosack. Dracosack effect. Summon 2 tokens. 2 tokens into Cherubini. Cherubini effect to dump the second King of the Swamp. And then, as you guys saw from the 2 card, we're using Kashtira Tearlaments effect, banishing this. And then we can give it a good shuffle. This is in your hand again. With a good shuffle, mill 3. If we hit anything, we're golden. If we don't, we're still golden. 1, 2, 3. So we hit a Sulliek. So what we'll do is that we can search now for a Tearlaments monster. Again, here is where you think, do I want to extend? Right? I could extend into a Sharon. These are in your grave. A Sharon can pitch to the King of the Swamp, mill another 3. Cool. Or I could just have another Kashtira Tearlaments to mill 3 on their turn. But we'll go for the Sharon for entertainment. What we'll do is that we don't want to mill the Merly too early without making the sprint. So we use the sprint effect, send Merly. Give it a good shuffle because we're going to be milling again after Merly has resolved. We'll use the effect of Merly to fuse with the King of the Swamp. To make. Now, this is where we talk about Rukalos or Grapha. Age-old question when we're playing this version of the deck or post-ban list here. Is consider our hand, consider our field. Does Grapha bring me any value? Not really, because I'm going to be probably setting my whole hand if I have not activated talents. I'll have a talent and it won't get me too much. But of course, to play around evenly, you get this. The better option right here, considering this hand, if you're not scared of evenly, is Rukalos. Why? Because we're going to use the Sharon effect, we're going to send the King of the Swamp, and then if we don't hit anything, we have a King of the Swamp in the graveyard, a Rukalos that can negate, and then send the Sharon, giving us a Grapha. So it gets us so much value. So we'll summon the Rukalos here. We'll use the Sharon effect sending the King of the Storm to the graveyard, milling the top 3 of your deck. Now we hit a Shuffler and Kashtira Tearlaments. So this is out, Kashtira Tearlament triggers. These are the 3 that we just milled. So we have a Shuffler, we have a mill 2. Mill 2 effect activates. Mill another 2. Nothing, it's fine. You always want to keep milling to keep your deck count low, so every time after you mill, you're guaranteed a fusion. So now, with a relatively 2-card engine hand, we have successfully played around hand traps. If they have hand traps, boom boom, right? If they don't have hand traps, we end up like this, right? It's really hard to play through Imperm, Rukalos, Shiren into anything, right? It could go into Grappa, it could even make a Kaleido Heart if you need to remove something. And you have a bounce, and you have an Imperm, okay? If you drew 2, of course you would have drawn 2 earlier, we get more interruptions. So we're no longer afraid of hand traps. We're always consistently ending on an end board. That's the important bit of this deck. And we did that off 2 cards. 1 card if we just, you know, consistency. I don't want to rely on variance. Relying on variance means you win some, you lose some. Randomly. But if you optimize the deck like this, you win some and you lose when you get unlucky. When the opponent's hand is just better, when they're just better at Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah? Now, what I want to accentuate about this deck is that it could also go second. Why? Because we're playing the Kashtira engine. And we'll do some test hands going second as well. We will begin with 5 cards to see if we begin with a hand trap, and then the 6th card for when we go second. So Shiren, Rise Heart, Unicorn, Imperm, Thrust. So you have an Imperm in case anything gets too scary, but I recommend you holding it for a Rise Heart. If you're versing a Sprite player, hit them where it hurts, yes, but you kind of want to keep the board breaking aspect of Infinite Impermanence. Okay? Now that Elf is banned, Infinite Impermanence goes burr. What do we do? What do we draw? We draw more extenders. So how do we go second with this hand? Of course, you go Imperm anything. If you Imperm the Rise Heart, normal Macrocosmos. Imperm anything. So 1 negate, gone. 1 interruption, gone. And then, because we have the Kashtira engine, okay, we can special summon Unicorn, Unicorn effect to search. If they Imperm it, who gives a crap, right? You could use the effect of this. Discard this. You have a rank 7, you can go into Big Eye. You could go into Draco Sack, pop something. Draco Sack even out skill drain because it tributes itself a cost, right? It really depends on how they do things. Alright? So, if they don't negate it, for example, if they just ended on a Rise Heart pass, what we could do is search Birth. And Birth is one of the best cards that exists in the Kashtira engine. This should be hit. It guarantees follow-up, it unbricks your hand, and it kinda keeps the body on the board always. Right? So what you'll do now, you get Birth, okay? You could use the effect of Kashtira Tearlaments, banishing the Rise Heart from your hand. You can bring it back with Birth, but now you get a mill of 3. Oops, sorry. Solia gets you another monster. That was lucky because you get Shiren, but yeah, let's just say we search anything, right? We can even search a tier to guarantee the fusion. We'll probably search Halfness here. Now, these guys are huge. It beats over Sprite board, easy. Flunder board, easy. but of course the snail. But guess what? You don't care because you're playing tier. The snail, book, who cares? You're not locked into summoning because you still have tiers as extenders. If they use effects, tactics, they're dead. Search, foolish burial, terraforming, they're dead. Okay? Now after I release this video, it's probably going to be harder for me to win with this deck because everyone will know the deck inside and out, and I don't feel like changing the deck because I think this is the perfect ratio. Okay? I've pissed people off so much that they're even considering siding Bestials when it's not tier format. Yes, Bestial still hits some decks, but it hurts more likely or not tier. Because we have a lot of Kashtira and a lot of other random decks in our locals. So like, Bestials is not really doing anything aside from me, the one tier player in our locals. That's remaining. But yeah, let's begin with the going second hand, number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check for hand traps and then we'll draw a 6 card. Happiness, field spell, normal summon, normal summon. Now this is kind of a sad hand. But of course we have access to Fenrir, we have access to Sharon, which will eventually lead to a redoer of some sort. But let's see our 6th card. Fenrir. Okay. So now, you just win. Because if it's just a Rise Heart, you special summon Fenrir. If they don't banish it, you're kind of using the effect to search, and then it kind of replaces itself, and then, you know, it does a lot. So what you'll do, you special Fenrir. Or not even. I think you begin with the field spell here to search anything, right? You use the field spell. You always kind of want to try and break the board with your Kashtira engine first, because your Kashtira engine is to facilitate your tier engine, right? So if you go with the Kashtira engine first of all, they're more threatening, right? If they negate your tier, then you're not moving. If they negate this but don't destroy this, it's huge. They're huge. With the field spell up, they could just beat over anything, right? And then you can just use the tier to like effect pop them, shuffle them back, whatever, right? So you begin with Unicorn. They're like, okay to Unicorn? No worries. They don't feel like negating Unicorn. Guess what? You get Birth again, right? Let's say they're scared of Birth. They don't let you get Birth. Like what do you do with a single Unicorn? Nothing? No worries. What you'll do, they negated the Unicorn. One negation down. If they don't, you're doing the same thing and just winning the game because you have Birth. You can use this to search for Tearlaments Kashtira. People keep thinking I play a Rise Heart. I don't know why I'll play a Rise Heart in tier when I end on it and I can't send stuff to the graveyard, but people keep thinking I'm going to make a Rise Heart. So if you get Birth, you use this to get Kashtira, Tearlaments Kashtira. You banish any one of these, summon the Tearlaments Kashtira, mill 3, they'll probably negate whatever's milled, and then you can Birth it back. They're scared. They're scared of a Rise Heart. Or Big Eye. You can even make Big Eye. You can make Draco Sack and Pops, right? But let's say they negate it here, because they're scared of Birth. Birth is kind of strong, right? So this was the hand, and this was on the field. They negate a Unicorn, sure, no worries. You go per Rhino. Why wouldn't they ash this? If they didn't ash this, bam. If they ash this, bam. If they don't ash this, they probably don't have ash, right? Because once you wait until the Kashtira gets on the board and then you ash, it's kind of dangerous. So now you have this. Now you do the same thing. You banish probably this one. Why? Because you can extend with this. Yes, it locks you into XYZ for the rest of the turn. Yeah, for the rest of the turn. So you'll probably save this till last. You could use it to force a Zeus, Big Eye, whatever. So you'll do this, mill 3. Oh, let's give it a good shuffle because we searched. Boom, boom, boom. 3. Didn't hit anything, no worries. Okay, now it's huge, alright? Let's say you're versing Sprite, you're beating over stuff. Who cares? Who cares about them, right? Or you could make Draco Sack, go into the combo, try to force out. They probably already seen the combo. You go Draco Sack, try and force out a negation, right? You already have King of the Swamp in the grave, right? Or the most likely option is that you go into Big Eye. That's why I play Big Eye. You will kind of want to force interruptions going second. You go into Big Eye. You detach, take anything. Take the interruption. That's 2 interruptions down, right? And you still haven't used these. This is fine, okay? You use this, let's say they deal with it. Cool. They're impermanent. 2 interruptions down. If they use the monster effect, you can halfness. But we're gonna assume you don't have a chance to halfness. But now, this is will force a negation, right? 3 interruptions. You send a Sharon attempt to fusion. 3 only negates. 3 monster negates. How are they gonna come up with that, right? Without triggering the halfness. They can't. So let's say you just fusion with these 2. You could still make Kaleido Heart. You can make Kaleido Heart. Or, what I'll do here, what would I do here? Probably Kaleido Heart. 2 interruption gone. Let's say they have still a healthy board. Go into Kaleido Heart. Kaleido Heart, spin 1, field spell, pop 1. Boom. Right? You attack, they lose. Not just that. Half the time, you're not going to go into your Tearlament plays until after the battle phase. So let's say they stop the heal, right? You attack over 2 things. You probably attack over a few things in this board state, forget the hand. You attack over 2 things. Probably it's going to be the Sprite stuff, or like even Kashtira stuff, or the, what is that dude called? Diabolosis, whatever's left on their board. 2-5, 2-8, can probably get over it. And then after that, you can force an interruption with Big Eye. And then you go into your combo. And then you go into your tier combo. Right? So this is test hand number 2 and the final one. As you guys can see, this deck is good going first, going second. It's consistent. It doesn't rely on variance. Does not rely on variance is what I want to accentuate. It could go first, it could go second. This is Brian from TopDeck coming up with the most original idea. Signing out.